The line was crossed when she smiled. Not the nervous smile she used to give me when she needed reassurance. This was rehearsed, polished, a blade wrapped in velvet. The room held its breath as she placed the envelope against my chest, 2 fingers pinning it there like a badge of shame. "Sign and leave now," she said, loud enough for the clinking glasses to stop. Silence spread, heavy, intentional. I didn't look down at the envelope. I looked at her, my wife, the woman whose dream I'd financed, whose confidence I'd built, whose failures I'd softened with my money and my patience. She waited for something. Tears, anger, a scene. I gave her nothing. The restaurant smelled like citrus oil and fresh paint. Marble counters gleamed. Brass fixtures reflected 100 faces that didn't belong to me anymore. Investors, influencers, friends who had practiced their laughter in advance. Someone coughed. Someone else snickered. "Practice husband," a man near the bar said, not bothering to whisper. It landed like a dart. Precise, designed to draw blood without consequence. They laughed, not cruelly, worse, casually. I stood there while my name was erased in real time. This place, her place, had been built on my signature, my guarantees, my quiet checks wired at midnight when vendors threatened to walk. I remembered the spreadsheets, the projections, the night she fell asleep at the table while I recalculated burn rates and negotiated leases. None of that was in the room now. She turned slightly, just enough to include the crowd. "He knew this was temporary," she said. We agreed. We hadn't, but lies work better when the audience wants them to be true. I opened the envelope. Divorce papers, pre-signed on her end. Efficient, public, a performance masquerading as closure. My pen was already in my pocket. I signed without hesitation. That's when the room relaxed. You could feel it. Relief rippled through them. The story had gone the way it was supposed to. The weak man folded. The ambitious woman rose. I handed the papers back. "Congratulations," I said, soft, sincere. She blinked, confused. It lasted half a second. Then the smile returned, wider now, victorious. I walked out alone. Outside, the night air was cool and indifferent. Valet lights washed over black cars I'd helped pay for. I sat in mine and didn't start the engine right away. I felt it then, the clean snap. Not anger, not grief, detachment. Love doesn't die loudly. It dies when you realize your presence has become a joke someone else controls. I pulled out my phone. First call, the bank. My private banker answered on the second ring. He always did. "Cancel the remaining transfers," I said. "Effective immediately." He didn't ask why. Second call, the escrow service holding the operating capital. I revoked authorization. The $8 million I'd committed, wired, staged, scheduled, vanished back into accounts she couldn't touch. Third, legal counsel. "Freeze my exposure," I said. "Tonight." I drove home while systems I'd built quietly began to collapse without me. I poured a drink and sat in the dark. At first, nothing happened. Then the phone vibrated once, twice, again. I left it face down. 97 missed calls in 20 minutes. Her number, her CFO, her head chef, numbers I didn't recognize, numbers I did. Voicemails stacked like a panic attack. I didn't listen. The first knock came just after midnight. I waited. The second knock was harder, desperate, not polite anymore. I opened the door. She stood there without the smile, without the audience, makeup smudged, hair undone. The woman behind the performance, stripped down to need. "Something's wrong," she said. I leaned against the door frame. "Is it?" She pushed past me, heels clicking like a countdown. "The accounts," she said. "They're empty." Vendors are calling. Payroll. You told me to leave, I said calmly. She turned. This isn't funny. I didn't laugh. Her eyes searched my face, finally understanding the shape of the room had changed. You can't do this, she said. You'll ruin everything. I took a sip of my drink. No, I funded everything. She moved closer, lowering her voice. This was business. You know that. I nodded. Exactly. She reached for my arm. I stepped back. The silence between us stretched, filled with the distant hum of a city that didn't care. People are watching, she said. If this fails, it already has. She swallowed. I'll fix it. I'll make it right. Just put it back. I looked at her, then really looked. The woman who had replaced gratitude with contempt because she mistook my silence for weakness. I was never your practice husband, I said. I was your foundation. Her shoulders sagged. Please. That word. She'd never used it with me before. I didn't embarrass you, I continued. I didn't mock you in front of people who needed to believe you were powerful. You did that to me. She shook her head, tears forming. You didn't think I'd react, I finished. Remember that. I set my glass down. I obeyed you tonight. That was the last time. Her phone rang. She ignored it. Then it rang again and again. She backed toward the door. You're enjoying this. I considered it. I'm accepting it. She left without another word. By morning, the story had changed. The launch was postponed, then restructured, then quietly cancelled. Investors pulled out. Reviews disappeared. The staff scattered. The restaurant became a rumor people avoided discussing. She sent emails, letters, apologies that sounded like negotiations. I didn't respond. Weeks later, I ran into one of the men from the bar. He looked smaller somehow. Rough situation, he said. I nodded. For some. He hesitated. You didn't deserve that. I met his eyes. I know. That was the payoff, not the money returning, not the collapse of something that never respected me. It was the moment the room recalibrated its memory of who I was. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't beg. I didn't threaten. I signed. I left. I pulled the plug. And when the lights went out, everyone finally understood what I'd been holding up.